In July 2015, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman vanished from one of Mexico's most secure prisons. He stepped into the shower inside his cell and disappeared through a tunnel almost a mile long. The passage had lights, ventilation, and a motorcycle mounted on rails. By the time guards understood what had happened, the world's most wanted drug trafficker was gone. It was the second prison escape of his life. Mexico launched a massive manhunt, but El Chapo returned to the mountains and vanished behind armed men, safe houses, and loyal contacts. Then he made a mistake no police officer could have forced him to make. He decided his life deserved a movie. And to tell that story, El Chapo opened his hidden world to Hollywood. El Chapo had escaped before. After breaking out of prison in 2001, he remained free for more than 13 years while the Sinaloa cartel became one of the world's most powerful trafficking organizations. Mexican Marines finally arrested him in February 2014 inside a condominium in Mazatlan. He was placed inside Altiplano, a maximum security prison. Cameras watched his cell. Guards monitored his movements. Officials promised he would never escape again. 17 months later, they found an empty cell and a hole beneath his shower. El Chapo had become the man Mexico could not keep locked up. The tunnel revealed how much power he still possessed. Workers had excavated thousands of feet beneath the ground and positioned the passage directly below the one area of his cell hidden from the camera. Fresh air entered through pipes. Electric lights covered the route. Metal tracks ran along the floor. At the far end stood an unfinished building surrounded by fields. This escape required engineers, money, inside information, and people willing to risk everything for him. The escape humiliated the government. Roads were blocked. Airports were alerted. Police searched across the country. But Guzman had returned to territory where his organization controlled routes, lookouts, and safe houses. He was free again. And freedom gave him the opportunity to expose himself. Years earlier, Mexican actress Kate del Castillo had published a public message addressed to El Chapo. Most people saw controversy. Guzman saw an opportunity. He was reportedly an admirer of the actress, and through his lawyers, communication began. The subject was not drugs or escape routes. It was a film. El Chapo wanted his life story brought to the screen. After his 2015 escape, every message entering his network could create a path investigators might follow. But the project mattered enough that contact continued. Then another name entered the plan. Sean Penn. In October 2015, Sean Penn and Kate del Castillo traveled into Mexico for a secret meeting with El Chapo. Flights changed. Vehicles changed. Guides moved them toward the mountains. But the visitors were not cartel members. They were internationally recognized actors, and their movements stood out. Mexican authorities were already watching people linked to the fugitive, and surveillance teams followed parts of the journey. Every vehicle created another connection. Every guide created another name. Every message created another opportunity for interception. El Chapo had spent years limiting the number of people who knew where he slept. Now outsiders were being guided toward him because he wanted his story told. Penn and del Castillo eventually met Guzman at a secret location. They ate together and discussed the proposed movie. Penn also wanted an interview. For El Chapo, this was the chance to control how the world saw him. But the meeting created everything a fugitive should avoid. A scheduled event. Outside visitors. Extended conversations. Travel through several layers of his protection network. Investigators did not arrest him during the dinner. They may not have known the precise location in time, or a raid in armed mountain territory may have been too dangerous. But police could now study the routes, intermediaries, and messages that had carried the visitors into his world. Once the actors left, the path did not completely disappear behind them. Surveillance surrounding the Hollywood contacts gave investigators another path into the region where Guzman was moving. Mexican forces launched an operation against a ranch linked to him. This should have ended the hunt. Instead, El Chapo escaped again through the mountains. The operation failed to capture him, but it proved something important. The actor's journey and the communications surrounding the project had brought authorities close enough to force him to run. The movie had not revealed one permanent address. His protection network was no longer completely invisible. Penn had not completed the interview during the meeting, so questions were transmitted and Guzman recorded video responses. Messages moved through intermediaries. Burner phones and encrypted devices were meant to separate one person from another. But no system is completely invisible when enough people become involved. El Chapo's safety depended on silence and separation. The film required the opposite. Communication, coordination, repeated contact. This was the deeper mistake. It was not only that Sean Penn met him once. El Chapo created a new branch of his secret network for a project that had nothing to do with survival. The cartel needed him hidden. His ego needed him seen. Those two needs could not exist together forever. By January 2016, investigators had tracked El Chapo to Los Mochis in his home state of Sinaloa. He was hiding in an ordinary house in a residential neighborhood. Before dawn on January 8th, Mexican Marines moved in. Gunmen inside opened fire. The house erupted into a close-range battle. 5 armed men were killed and others detained. But when Marines searched the rooms, Guzman was already disappearing beneath the ground. Again. A hidden opening connected the house to the city's drainage system. Marines had reached his bedroom. They had entered the house. And El Chapo was already moving beneath the streets. Guzman and one bodyguard traveled through the tunnel and emerged from a manhole away from the house. They reached the street and seized a vehicle. For a moment, it appeared he had done it again. He had escaped a prison through a tunnel. Escaped a mountain raid. Escaped the Los Mochis house while Marines fought his guards. But this time authorities knew where to search. Police were watching vehicles leaving the city. The stolen car was stopped by federal officers. Inside was Joaquin Guzman, exhausted and wearing a dirty shirt. The man who repeatedly vanished beneath the ground had finally run out of places to disappear. He was returned to prison and later extradited to the United States, where he received a life sentence. After the arrest, Mexican officials said contact with actors and producers had been important to finding him. Sean Penn rejected the idea that his interview directly caused the capture. The truth is more complicated. Penn did not personally lead police to the Los Mochis house. Investigators still needed surveillance, intercepted communications, informants, and special forces. But the Hollywood project created something they could exploit. Movement where there should have been stillness. Messages where there should have been silence. New relationships inside a network designed to trust almost no one. The meeting did not catch El Chapo by itself. It helped expose the system keeping him hidden. El Chapo had survived because he understood hiding. A fugitive survives by becoming smaller. Fewer movements. Fewer messages. Fewer people who know the truth. But after his second escape, Guzman did the opposite. He contacted an actress. Invited filmmakers into his world. And continued an interview while thousands of officers searched for him. The world expected his downfall to come from money, betrayal, or a failed tunnel. Instead, it came from the story he wanted people to tell about him. He had escaped prison twice. He had survived raids and disappeared underground. But he could not resist stepping into the spotlight. The tunnel gave him freedom. Hollywood gave investigators the trail. El Chapo was not exposed because he forgot how to hide. He was exposed because the legend wanted an audience.